to RANsquawk's EU morning briefing for Wednesday the 9th of September of 2009. Just coming to around 9:30 now in London, so a bit of a review of the overnight news. Starting firstly in the Asian markets, where I did have comments from Bank of Japan board member Suda, who said that the role of the bank's unconventional measures was lessening as credit strains ease, suggesting she may favour letting them expire in December. In terms of JGBs towards the close, in positive territory up around 20 ticks or so, somewhat underpinned as well by weakness in the Nikkei, which did close down on the session around 0.8% in the Japanese session. Taking a look on the global front, the front page of this FT, nothing particularly market moving, but just getting a bit of attention, was that credit rating agency Moody's does not expect to downgrade the sovereign debt of leading AAA rated nations, despite the explosive growth of government debt. Referring to Britain, Moody said that although public finances had clearly deteriorated, the rise in debt appeared affordable as major political parties have shown a willingness to curb public spending. Those comments as well, just getting rerun on Bloomberg just a few minutes ago. Looking elsewhere, in WTI crude futures, we're pretty much flat at the moment, trading at $71. The OPEC president says that oil stockpiles are rising and is not comfortable with this. However, ahead of today's OPEC meeting, which we should see the official comments coming out a bit later on this evening, the states Kuwait, Qatar, Algeria reiterated no need for another OPEC production cut. The latter also said that oil prices should rise in early 2010. Furthermore, the Qatari oil minister agrees with the OPEC president that oil stocks are high while outlook for oil demand is gloomy, and says we'll discuss compliance at the meeting. Take a look in terms of the UK, as already mentioned. One of the main pieces there, the spending cut pledges bolster UK's AAA rating at Moody's, according to the FT. Looking elsewhere, in terms of equity news, as we stand at the moment, we're slight negative. Obviously, as I mentioned, the Nikkei finished down 0.8%, and at the moment we're down around 0.4 across the FTSE, CAC and DAX in Europe. On a sector basis, seemingly the big rise in commodities yesterday, just abating slightly, with spot gold looking to move back below the $1,000 handle at the moment, having topped out around 1,007 yesterday. Therefore, basic materials, the big gainer yesterday, is the underperformer so far this morning. Looking elsewhere, in terms of specific stocks, Cadbury's continue to grab a lot of headlines. Hershey, they've appointed JP Morgan to advise on a counter bid for Cadbury's, according to the Times, and elsewhere reports are that Kraft may go hostile in their bid for the confectionery maker. And elsewhere, Thiessen Group, they're seen lower at the moment after they said that they will announce a pre-tax €2 billion loss in its next reports, with a rumoured restructuring cost of €1.5 billion, according to Developed Online. Finally, we just had Siemens on the wires in the last few minutes. They have reiterated their goals for fiscal 2009. Did see a slight pop to the upside in their shares on the back of that, however they still remain in marginal negative territory. Looking ahead then, we'll be eyeing the trade balance from the UK in a few minutes' time. There'll then be the NBA mortgage apps at midday. No major 1:30s or 3 o'clock numbers from the US. We will see, though, Canadian housing starts at 1:15. Fed's beige book will be at 7 o'clock London time, so 1 in Chicago. We'll look out for those OPEC official meeting comments around 8:30 this evening. And then the API, all inventory levels, they'll be due after market. In terms of speakers, Fed's Evans, Gonzalez, Pramo, Geithner and Fisher all due this afternoon. And on the fixed income side, out of Europe, we'll be looking at a new Schat, €7 billion worth out of Germany. And then we'll see the final of the 3 reverse auctions to the Bank of England for the week. They'll be targeting 2013 to 2019 maturities. Usual time results there at 2:45 to 3 o'clock in London. And then we'll have the second, following on from a relatively decent 3-year yesterday. We'll have the 10-year note auction from the US, where they'll be looking to sell $20 billion worth. 6 o'clock London time, that'll be at midday in Chicago.